So I've been with the campaign now for 7 years, and a very important part of our history as a movement occurred in 2014. Jody had the vision of an organization of our movement being led by direct impacted people, and along with others who articulated this vision. And what that meant at that time in 2014 was helping to create a national network of formerly incarcerated leaders. At the time, we didn't have a name. When I was hired on in 2014, we had 7 founding members. And I remember us going back and forth about a title of ICAN. And we're like, well, it became ICAN, but like, what is the title? We need to come up with a name. And one day, while going through a number of different title options, we landed on ICAN, the Incarcerated Children's Advocacy Network. And the criteria for that membership of that network would be you had to have been convicted of a homicide-related offense and or sentenced to life without parole when you were a child. And at the time, having only 7 founding members and being amid a movement that at the time we didn't have the momentum we have now, obviously. 7 years ago, I think it was only 12 states that had banned this practice. And having created ICAN and articulating the vision that was to help advance advocacy, to help educate strategic stakeholders and likely and unlikely allies to travel the country and speak before conferences and to submit our stories in amicus briefs to help inform state and U.S. Supreme Court, working alongside other partners, other formerly incarcerated leaders. Slowly we began to grow, and with reforms in Nevada and then in Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, we started seeing members, more people coming home, and we started to create our own membership. And interestingly, fast forward to today, we now have about 180 members nationwide. And between now and then, obviously, working for a national campaign, coming on as someone who had no experience in advocacy, for me personally was, to be quite honest with you, quite frightening. I never had stepped foot into a state capitol before, never spoke to legislators. I felt like I was allergic to courtrooms. So there's a lot going on there. I was someone who was given an extreme sentence when I was a child. I was convicted of homicide when I was 13, something I was deeply remorseful of. And so coming and joining a movement like this that was to help advance fair sentencing of kids and to ensure that kids are treated in an age-appropriate and trauma-informed way meant a lot to me. So throughout the years of advocating and working alongside other ICAN members, we began to hire more of them into our staff. Eric joined us and became a youth advocate. We worked side by side along with other ICAN leaders across the nation. Soon after, Eddie Ellis became our outreach coordinator. And soon after that, Abdullah became our Pennsylvania ICAN coordinator. And our roles began to evolve as well, meaning coming on in these sort of entry-level positions. And suddenly now, fast forward down the road, we have these same individuals along with others on staff who are directly impacted, leading positions that they had never envisioned for their lives after having served extreme sentences. And so just to be clear, when we talk about evolving into an organization that's led by directly impacted people, we're not just talking about any directly impacted people. We're talking about those who meet the criteria of ICAN. Many of us who came out of prison after years of incarceration since childhood didn't even know how to drive. We never had a pair of keys, never owned property, never had adult relationships, never, we literally in so many ways were like children inside of adult bodies. And so the long vision of us leading this movement it had to entail a lot of support from other staff members who were not system impacted. It had to entail great professional development opportunities. Opportunities to help us evolve as an organization and collectively embrace one another in meaningful ways and to educate ourselves and to be in uncomfortable places, having to walk to the Legacy Museum and see the racial terror and lynchings, to have to walk to the memorial and look up at names that look familiar and resonate with memories of those who are still inside. There are so many things that manifested over the past 7 years, but ultimately I think what happened and what really brought into fruition this amazing opportunity was this really a deep-seated commitment to continue to do all it takes to advance the movement and that being an elevating direct impacted leadership, that meant working hand in hand with those who are not system impacted, and building out a vision that is rooted in equity and racial justice and inclusion to the point where we've literally just dismantled our managers meeting, and we're trying to, we're going through creating pods, and we can get into all that later. But the point I'm trying to make here really is this: to be an organization that operates according to our values meant taking a lot of risk. It meant believing and trusting in one another. It meant creating a graceful environment where we can make mistakes, learn, and continue to thrive with one another. And so that's the exciting moment that we're in today, and we'll share more.